Hey guys! Today we'll be covering a 2006 drama film called Hardy Paws. In the opening scene, we are introduced to an 11-year-old boy named Chang-yi. He is in front of a stranger's house at dawn. He discreetly kidnaps a little puppy from the house and brings it back to his younger sister, Su-yi. On waking up, Su-yi is over the moon to see the adorable dog in her bed. It is also her 6th birthday, which makes the occasion even more special. The siblings love each other dearly and are always together because they do not have anyone else to rely on. After the death of their father, their mother abandoned them, leaving them without adult supervision. Ever since then, Chang-yi has been taking care of Su-yi as a parent and as a brother. Su-yi excitedly names her new pet Hardy. She sleeps, plays, and eats with her new puppy every day, not leaving him alone for a single second. As days pass, Hardy grows tall and their bond tightens even more. Despite all their problems in their life, Chang-yi, Su-yi, and Hardy become a happy family of 3. Whenever Su-yi is in trouble and Chang-yi scolds her, she remembers her mother. She still thinks her mother will return someday and love them as she did in the past. Chang-yi doesn't have the heart to tell the little girl that her mother doesn't care about them. When Chang-yi goes to school, their aunt babysits Su-yi for a while, but for the most part, she is accompanied by Hardy. Every day after school, Su-yi and Hardy wait for Chang-yi at the bus stop. One day he doesn't arrive on the bus, leaving the little girl worried. But then he comes running with ice cream, having used his bus money to buy ice cream for Su-yi. The little girl fails to understand her brother's sacrifice and cries because the ice cream has melted. Hardy cheers her up after getting a plastic bag stuck in his face. In the end, all 3 of them head home happily. The next day, Chang-yi goes to his aunt's place and is told she and her husband are moving to a different city. They are sad that they cannot help the kids anymore, but they also can't afford to take them to the new city. Chang-yi's uncle bluntly asks them to go to an orphanage for the sake of his sister. Chang-yi says that they are not orphans and storms away. His aunt stops him on the way, promising to send them some money every month. She also hands him his mother's address and is unsure if she still lives there. Back at home, Su-yi plays with Hardy the entire day. In the evening, they wait at the bus station for a long time before Chang-yi arrives. As soon as Su-yi sees him, she begins to cry. On their way home, she reveals that she was scared Chang-yi wouldn't return home like their mother. The following morning, Su-yi finds the paper with their mother's address. She throws a tantrum about wanting to meet her. Having had enough, Chang-yi tells her the truth that their mother is never returning home. Su-yi refuses to believe him since her mother had asked her to be a good girl before leaving. To calm her down, Chang-yi threatens to leave and never return like their mother. Su-yi begs him to stay with her and stops crying. She falls asleep a while later, but sleep doesn't come to Chang-yi. He stays with Hardy for a long time, talking to him about his problems. Hardy too seems to understand his master's feeling and holds his hand in support. The following day, they go to a frozen lake to skate. Chang-yi leaves the other 2 alone for a while and goes to the washroom. In his absence, Hardy accidentally breaks a hole in the lake and falls into the water. Su-yi runs to save him just when Chang-yi also arrives. He yells at her not to go near the hole, but right then, the ice beneath her breaks, making her fall into the lake. Hardy finds his way back, but Su-yi dies in the incident. Chang-yi is heartbroken by her death. He has no one to rely on, not even Hardy, because he was the cause of Su-yi's death. Chang-yi pulls away from everyone and stops talking altogether. He also chases Hardy away, blaming him for all his misery. Then one day, he wears Su-yi's favorite bag and makes his way to the city where his mother is. Hardy tries to follow him, but Chang-yi throws stones at him and sends him away. On reaching the address, he sees his mother returning home, hand in hand with a man. After finding out that the woman has a son, the guy refuses to spend the night with her. Even though the mother is seeing Chang-yi after a year, she isn't happy. Instead, she reveals that she is going to the US the next day and asks him to never look for her again. Chang-yi wants to tell her about Su-yi, but refrains from doing so since it won't change anything. The next morning, the woman leaves before Chang-yi wakes up. She has left an envelope of money for him, but he leaves without taking it. Somewhere else, Hardy has turned into a stray dog, stealing food from people to survive. He doesn't understand that Su-yi is dead and still looks at every girl, hoping that it is her. Chang-yi is on a bus returning home when he notices 2 kids begging. They say that their parents just passed away in an accident, which urges the adults to give them money. The girl notices Chang-yi is alone and invites him to their group. In the evening, they take him to their leader named Kong. He is a grown man taking advantage of orphan kids who don't have anyone to take care of them. He claims that he is their only guardian, but makes them beg all day long and takes their money at the end of the day. He welcomes Chang-yi to the group and appoints him as one of the beggars. Since the kids are not allowed to keep their belongings, he is asked to throw the bag away, but Chang-yi cannot do it because of the sentiments attached to it. Upon being urged, he goes to a local safe and keeps the bag inside one. At the same time, Hardy, who is wandering the streets, sees him and starts barking. Before the dog can get to Chanyi, he has already walked away. Hardy recognizes the smell of Suyi's bag and decides to wait outside the locker for her. The next day is Chanyi's first day at work. He doesn't have to make up fake stories to gain sympathy from the travelers because his emotions are raw. The day goes wrong when guards start chasing him and his friend, but they manage to not get caught. The duo is on their way to another bus when they notice a crowd gathered around a dog. The people from the municipal department are trying to take Hardy away to put him down. Chanyi still has a special place in his heart for the dog, so he stops the people and swears that the dog belongs to him. After the commotion, Hardy tries to follow him, even after being asked to go away repeatedly. His new friends love the dog and play with him. Hardy seems to recognize that Kang is not a good person. He barks at the man, but Kang takes it as a challenge to discipline him. The following day, Chanyi's partner insists on taking Hardy with them to work. Using the dog, she makes up an emotional story and earns a lot of money. Chanyi doesn't like Hardy's company, but he has to reluctantly stay with him. At midday, they stop for lunch. Hardy is given an expired carton of milk by a shop owner, which causes the poor dog to puke. Chanyi acts like he doesn't care, but when no one is looking, he throws a stone at the shop. On their way, Hardy sees a girl that looks exactly like Suyi. He barks at her from the bus, making Chanyi realize how much the animal misses her. When they give the money to Kang that day, he scolds them for earning less. He kicks a girl, but is stopped by Chanyi from hitting her further. Chanyi stands against the thug for making little kids beg, and enraged Kang beats him up brutally. Hardy, who is tied to a pole, sees this and starts barking at the man. As a result, Kang assaults him as well. By the end of the torture, the poor animal can hardly stand up. The following day, Kang allows the kids to take a break from work. He tells them to go wherever they please and enjoy their day. They happily go to an amusement park and have fun, unaware that Kang has an ulterior motive. When no kids are around, he brings Hardy out, planning to feed him to his aggressive pet dog, Becky. The dog attacks Hardy and bites him repeatedly, eventually causing his death. The thug throws Hardy out in the trash, but it turns out he is still alive. He can hardly open his eyes because of the abuse he faced, first by Kang and then by his dog. Even at a time like this, all he can think about is Suyi. Upon returning home, Chanyi finds out what happened to his beloved dog. He runs outside looking for Hardy in every corner of the neighborhood, but doesn't find him. In a fit of rage, he attacks Kang and asks him where the dog is. Kang in turn is enraged by the audacity of the kid to hit him. He drags Chanyi to the cage with Becky, deciding to kill him like he killed Hardy. But just then, they hear the police siren and stop. It turns out the girl who Chanyi helped yesterday called the police to save his life. The thugs have to run away while the children are taken to the police station. However, the police can't do anything to help them other than to try and catch the thugs. Chanyi goes to fetch the bag that he kept in the locker when he bumps into Kang. He is furious at the kid for destroying his source of income and making him a police suspect. He tries to drag him to his car to complete what he had started the previous day. But just then, Hardy arrives and helps his master, chasing Kong away. An enraged Kong sends his aggressive dog Becky after the two. A chase ensues in the alleyways between Kong, Becky, Chanyi, and Hardy. Becky is hit by a car while crossing the road, which ends in her death. Somewhere else, Chanyi and Hardy finally get away from the thugs and reunite. Later, they play and eat together as they used to before Suyi's death. When it gets dark, Chanyi sleeps under a bridge. Hardy puts a newspaper over him and steals a pack of sandwiches for him. But because of the torture he faced, Hardy has started to lose his eyesight. Chanyi takes him to the vet and finds out that he is as good as blind. Later that day, he hugs the dog and cries for a long time, apologizing for abandoning him. In the meantime, Chanyi's mother is still in Korea. She visits the Korean embassy to receive a document to finalize her visa. However, upon finding out that her daughter is dead, she is left shocked. She visits the home the children used to live in and cannot help but cry, looking at the picture Suyi made for her a long time ago. Back in the city, Chanyi gets sick and is taken to the police station. Hardy follows behind him to make sure he is safe. When no one is around, Kang arrives and kidnaps Chanyi. Hardy can hardly see, but he follows the car, determined to help his master. Chanyi is put inside a tank and is about to be drowned when Hardy arrives and starts barking at Kang. The thug beats him up with a metal rod before being knocked out by Chanyi. His life is saved, but the doctor says that he cannot survive for a long time because the injuries are serious. Chanyi's mother arrives at the vet and begs for his forgiveness. He doesn't even want to look at her face, but Hardy subtly asks him to forgive her. The three of them return home and take rest for the night. In the morning, Hardy is in front of the house trying to go somewhere. Chang-yi takes him to the bus stop where they wait for Su-yi. A while later, the dog passes away as Chang-yi mourns his death. In the last scene, we see him looking at a picture that Su-yi drew a long time ago. It depicts the siblings with their mother and Hardy, living as a happy family.